Sadnam. We are Jen and Ramtin from Heart Center Revolution.
Our intention with this podcast is to share the best of Kundalini Yoga and conscious living with you so you can live a more heart-centered life. Satnam, and welcome to the 26th episode of the Heart Centered Revolution podcast. I am so freaking excited to share this episode with you. It is probably our biggest episode yet. For a few reasons. One is it is the final episode in our series about the chakras. So the topic of this episode is the seventh chakra. And then after we talk about the seventh chakra, I'm going to share the details of our very first and much requested in-depth online course. And then at the very end of this episode, I'll lead you through a wonderful pranayam similar to the one like we did in the last episode where we are praying to and speaking to our breath. So this episode has a bit of everything. But before we get into Ramtin's class, I wanted to review some of the basics about the seventh chakra with you. So just to give you a little bit of context for these chakra episodes, Ramtin usually talks about each chakra for 3, sometimes even 4 different yoga classes. And then I pick one of those discussions to turn into the podcast episode about that chakra. So you're only getting about a third of the information that he goes over in the classes. And so I try to fill in a little bit of the information, just kind of go through the list of the color and, you know, the gemstone, that kind of thing, so that you have some consistency. But in order to get all of the information about chakras in, you really got to spend some time with it, more than we have here in these episodes. But as you know, these episodes are a great way to get kind of the surface layer information, kind of just get the basics, a good basic introduction in. So on that note, the seventh chakra is the crown chakra. So it's physically located at the crown of the head, the very tippy top. It's associated with the color white or purple. And it represents, or what happens there is that's where we connect to infinite intelligence or collective consciousness, or whatever it is, whatever label you want to call that energy that connects us all. An imbalance in the seventh chakra is associated with things like depression, headaches, even Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. So things that are affecting the functioning, our mental functioning. If you want to use crystals, the gems that are associated with the seventh chakra are amber and diamonds. And then if you use incense or essential oils, then it would be angelica and white tulip. So another reminder before we get into Ramtin's class, which is excellent, is that he's teaching a live class, and for Ramtin's teaching style, he often asks questions and then the students respond. But to maintain their confidentiality and kind of the safe space that's in a yoga class, I edit out the students' responses. But in this episode, there's a few times where Ramtin asks a question, the student responds, and then he repeats what they said. And so I edited out the student. I just wanted to let you know. So when Ramtin's asking a question and then it sounds like he answers it himself. He's actually repeating what a student said. And then there's 1 or 2 times where I summarize what the student said because it's more than Ramtin can repeat. Okay, so let's jump into Ramtin's lecture, or discussion, I should say, about the seventh chakra. And afterwards, I have an exciting announcement. I'm so thrilled to be sharing it with you.
We want to talk about seventh chakra. We've been started a while ago, working with different chakras, explaining the chakras, started for our first chakra. And anybody doesn't know about any about the chakras at all? Everybody's familiar somewhat about chakras, you know. So we have 7 major chakras in our body. And in Kundalini Yoga, we say we have an 8th chakra, which is our aura surrounding us. So the 7th chakra, the first one is at the base of the spine, second one is the sacral, third is our solar plexus, fourth is our heart center, fifth is our throat center, and then is our third eye, 6th chakra, and the 7th chakra is the crown at the top of the head. And they're all connected. They're not like operating individually. They're not separated. They're all connected together. They all work as one system. However, each one, as we kind of try to relate to it and recognize it and become more aware of that vortex of energy in our body, we say that is more focused in a certain area of the body. So, for example, first chakra is the base of the spine, has to do with is related to our feet, our legs, our pelvis, our hips, and base of the spine. Second chakra, sex organs, and the reproductive organs, and then the navel center. Third chakra has to do with also navel center, or solar plexus, or in personal power. Heart chakra. Fourth chakra is our heart center, our lungs, our arms, our chest, our shoulders, upper back, and the organs in that area. Fifth chakra is the throat, our voice, sound, communication, our neck, right? And our sixth chakra, third eye, pituitary gland, the brain, part of the brain. Obviously, our face, part of the ears, all that. Eyes, the two eyes have to do with the sixth chakra. Seventh chakra is also the brain, pineal gland, most associated. Top of the head, crown chakra, crown of the head. That takes us to the connection beyond the early energies and vibrations. So the three chakras are known to be the lower triangle chakras. The upper three chakras are the higher triangle chakras, and this heart center is what kind of is the facilitator and connects the two. It's very important. And I always say, what really makes us unique as human beings is that heart chakra. It's a heart center, having a heart. That's what makes us special, or who we are. And if you tap into that heart center, anything that has to do with positive thinking, with compassion, love, it comes from that love energy, it has to do with the heart. And the heart has its own brain. So the seventh chakra has to do with connection to that cosmic consciousness, that higher consciousness, higher self. And that's important to recognize and understand. We say higher. Why do we say higher self? What does that mean, higher self? Not connected to the material world? Yeah, higher self. So we have we have ourself. This is my lower self. My body, everything is associated with my existence in the lower plane. This is myself. But higher self. So why don't we say something else? But it's higher self. What does that represent to you? What does that mean to you? Higher self. Spiritual self. What else? True self.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What else? Absolutely. Your connection to the infinite. But why don't we say higher you? Or higher it? But we say higher self.
Here a student comments that our higher self, we call it a higher self because it's a part of who we are. And that when you connect to your higher self, you're connecting to the best part of you, but you're also connecting to other people's higher selves. Like there's a united consciousness that we're tapping into when we say we're connecting to our highest selves. And here's Ramtin's response.
And that's what we do when we do to connect to that higher self. We create that union to the higher consciousness that exists within everyone. So the key thing I want to kind of emphasize on, and that's why I bring up the question, why higher self, is like, I am. Same thing as I am. I am that. I am. That I am exists within me. I am exists within everything and everyone. That's the part that brings that unity within all of us, that consciousness of I am. Right? I am one with everything. And we say God is within everything. If God is within everything, I am that, then I am God. In the sense that I'm part of that force and source. I am that. So when you connect to the higher self, you connect into God. It's part of you, that creative force that exists as individualized as you. So you have all the qualities. Doesn't matter what religion, doesn't matter what philosophy, doesn't matter what you learn it from, those qualities that you learn from whatever studies you have learned that exist in that higher source, higher force, the creator, is within you. And through the connection of realization of the 7 chakra to that higher consciousness, you become more aware of those qualities within you through that connection and everybody else. And that's where equality comes from. When you take yourself above just the physical aspect of things, the matter, you go into the quantum level of existence that is in that higher level of consciousness. Everything is a level of consciousness. The level of consciousness that exists within your different parts of your organs, in your toes, in your feet, in your heart, in your brain, is all different. The vibrational consciousness that exists in your thoughts and different parts of your emotion has different frequency and different consciousness. And you could understand that, and really form what you want to formulate in your life based on that understanding. It's all consciousness. Pain in your body, the way you relate to it, the discomfort in your life, in your relationships, thoughts that come in, all is the level of consciousness. That's why some call it an illusion, because it's just a consciousness, which is real as far as we understand it, as long as we know it. So 7 chakra is what is known to be, again, that crown, that gateway to our connection to our higher consciousness. So as we open that up, we bring in what's the energy and the consciousness that exists in the cosmos. And what exists out, so to speak, beyond our level of understanding and level of what would we detect with our 5 senses, some energy force, some vibration, was part of who we are, and people who have existed before us. There still exists that level of consciousness. So we could download through that connection. So it's important to keep every other aspects of who we are, every other chakra vortexes in our body, balanced and leveled and sort of strong, to be able to process that information in the right way, so to speak. As we receive those psychic kind of information, cosmic information, if you don't have the capacity to process it correctly, it could create some confusion, right? And even some way of messing with our thoughts and our emotions. So that's why it's important to work on every chakra in the foundation. That's why the first chakra is just as important as the 7th chakra, and so on. You have to create that relationship with your own individuality, who we are, create that foundation, that grounding aspect of who we are, and build upon that when we create the relationship through the second chakra. And then when we create that self, that individuality and self-power is not abused, is not just from the brain, because now it's kind of that humility is added to it, integrated through the heart chakra. So as we bring the connect with the higher consciousness, as we become aware of certain, some people call powers, if you able to do telepathy or mind reading, all that stuff that comes with it is not, we're not here to do this kind of stuff. We're here to live in the moment, to understand who we are. As we become aware of those kind of things, we understand different aspects of who we are that goes beyond just our thinking and intellect and our emotions and our body. Subtle form of energies that exist and vibration, where we're going to bring it out and process it in a very human way, with heart, with love. So 7th chakra, when it is integrated with the heart chakra, working together, that's what brings us the best of the human being. If you're too involved in only one aspect of who we are, because it's been done throughout the years, we become aware of a power of creation through the mind, through the thoughts, right? And we said the secret, right? You could create through your thoughts, subconscious mind, which is a very powerful aspect of who we are. And that's the secret. We're paying attention more to the tangible first and foremost, which is rightly so. I mean, we're amused. I mean, there's so much going on in our body we still don't understand, right? We're a physical aspect of who we are, rightly so, and we're amused by that when we discover, the brain does this, the functionality of the brain. But all this is coming, then we focus too much of the science part of it. How can we measure it? How can we control it? How can we create the same result over and over again? And that becomes very intriguing to us. When we focus on that aspect of who we are and that aspect of creation and nature, we get stuck. We're limiting ourselves. Doesn't matter if it's the physical body, tangible stuff, material stuff, or mind or thought. But we're going beyond that. That's why we want to bring it all together, integrate everything, every aspect of who we are. And it all really does come to a place of balance in our heart center. You focus on love, you focus on what we know, the qualities of a good human being. And every interest that has been for every other beings or anything else that are interested in life of a human is because of our heart. That's what makes us unique. Everything else is given to us. Everything else is given to us. We're not really the operator of anything. It's our heart center that makes us special. Through that love energy, we're able to control our own emotions, even control the mind. So your focus on that is very freeing. Very freeing. Unlimited. Become unlimited. You're able to connect to that higher consciousness with a different perspective. You don't become intrigued with your powers. I could move things without, touching them. I could, read someone's mind. Which is, it is part of it, but it's not what we're here to do. We're not here to accumulate so much material stuff. We're not here to be mind readers. Somewhere in between. The heart. So we're going to work on the 7th chakra today. the exercise we're going to do is actually called opportunity and green energy. Green energy is about abundance, prosperity. But again, that abundance is always with us. We just have to realize it. We just have to connect with it. You just have to understand that connection, that abundance, where it's coming from. The creation is about abundance. It's not about limitation. And from the law of attraction, what you focus on expands. Anything. So you're bringing, as you're doing the chakra, as you're doing the kriyas, keep in mind that you're bringing all chakras in balance together. So we're starting from first chakra, second chakra, third chakra, and we're going to move up to the seventh chakra, expanding and our connection to the cosmic forces.
I just love the way that Rampton breaks these things down. I mean, listening to his classes and creating these podcasts is so fun for me too. Because, he's my husband. We live together. We have conversations about bills and where to eat for dinner and, all of that kind of mundane stuff. So it's actually really fun to listen to him in his element, fulfilling his purpose. But that's not, what I'm here to talk to you about. It is now time, actually, for our awesome announcement. So as I said earlier, we are launching our very first in-depth, official, formal online course next week. And this course is all about the chakras and Kundalini yoga. So this is by far the number one most requested topic that we get asked to teach about. And so we put together something incredible. So as I said, these podcast episodes are just barely scratching the surface. And truly, to have information about the chakras is not that transformative. Where the transformation takes place is when you know your chakras. You know the habits and patterns of how your third chakra shows up for you or sometimes doesn't show up for you. Or you know which chakra gets stuck when you feel overwhelmed or stressed. And that personal information cannot be gained by listening to a podcast episode or even by, reading a book about the chakras. You really have to do the work. So for that reason, we put together something incredible. It's like a little mini teacher training, but in a compact course, in a compact size. And it's kind of, you can do it on your own time as much as possible. We do have some group stuff in there. But before I tell you more about the course or all about the course, I actually want to tell you a personal story about how essential the knowledge of the chakras can be. And not just the knowledge of the chakras, but the knowledge of your chakras and finding a way to tune into them. So we all tune into our chakras in different ways. I'm going to tell you a story about how this wisdom helped me. But this wisdom and this connection might show up differently for you, but it will still show up. It just takes practice to build that relationship. So I'm getting ahead of myself here, but about a year ago, I developed an inflamed bladder. And so this is something I had never heard anything about. I just thought I had a UTI and I went to the doctor and there was no infection and my symptoms just kept getting worse. And it was so uncomfortable. I literally had to pee every 10 minutes. And sometimes it was, even quicker than that. Sorry, this is TMI, but I would go pee. And then by the time I was done washing my hands, I would feel like I had to go pee right then immediately. It was seriously uncomfortable. It disrupted my ability to sleep at night. I stayed up all night, several evenings. It disrupted my ability to work because I was going to the restroom every, 10 minutes, or I was so distracted by the discomfort. And then I was not doing things like spending time with family and friends. And my symptoms were pretty serious for a couple of months while I was figuring this stuff out. But part of me figuring this stuff out was using my chakras. And a lot of people who have these symptoms, actually, they develop them and they have them for a lifetime. And it's called interstitial cystitis. And I never got that formal diagnosis because I went a more holistic route, but I truly believe that that's what I had. And it's usually a chronic condition. And I've been symptom-free for 6 months. And what started my healing journey, or what was the turning point, I should say, in my healing journey, came from my knowledge of my chakras. So one of the evenings that I was unable to sleep, I was laying on the floor, with my feet bent and laying on my back, with my hands over my bladder. And I know that my chakra is related to my bladder. My second chakra is related to my bladder. So I was just kind of closing my eyes and trying to check in with that chakra. And I wasn't really feeling much. Usually my chakras, I can feel like a moving sense or a rotating sense, like a little vortex spinning around in there. But I was laying there and had my hands over my second chakra, and I started to talk to her and kind of listen. I guess when I really felt the transformation was when I started listening. So I was breathing into my second chakra and I was listening. And then I got this like wave of an image and these feelings and sensations of when I was 15 years old and then when I was 19 years old. And it was like that time I was all like hormonal and emotional. And in these instances that were waving through me or washing through my mind, I had all these feelings of like anger and feeling rejected and feeling let down by other people. But I did not have the skill set at the time to deal with these feelings. And so I stuffed them down and I internalized them instead of expressing them. And even as I was laying there and I was visualizing myself stuffing these feelings down, I could feel when I was 16 or 19, it was two separate instances, my second chakra tightening and starting to slow and get stuck. And I could feel even in my physical body, like the lining of my bladder, where I was now having problem getting tight. And I had never realized that I had a tight, those muscles I would hold tense, like stress, that they were tense my whole life, or at least until from when I was a teenager. But I was so used to it, I had no idea that there was this tension in my body. It just was something that I had lived with. So as I felt this tension, I just continued to breathe into my second chakra, and I allowed the feelings to flow through me. These feelings of, strong feelings of anger and resentment and betrayal, but they weren't anything I couldn't handle. I just didn't have the skill set then. I was too afraid of my emotions when I was a teenager. And so I stuffed them down and didn't express them. But now as a 36-year-old, they came up and I felt my feelings. And as I did, I felt my second chakra start to move. It was like not even spinning. That's too strong of a word, but it just started to shift. And the feeling I got was like there was this mold, like a ceramic mold that had been holding it in place. And as the chakra started to spin, it was like breaking that mold. So these emotions that I had stuffed down had like held my chakra still, or my second chakra still. And as I breathed into it and allowed the feelings to flow, my chakra was able to move. It was able to finally get a little movement going. And I felt so much relief at the movement in my bladder and in that energy center of my body that I just started to cry. Because at that point, I knew that I had traced back to the root of my symptoms. And to be honest, I had a long healing journey from this point forward. Since I knew it was my second chakra, I did a lot of Kundalini yoga around my second chakra, namely a Kriya for the adrenals and kidneys. And that really helped. I started to, feel that chakra spinning and the healing energy moving and the emotions not stuck there anymore. And so, but this, to be honest, this chakra movement and awareness of kind of the emotional beginning of my physical illness was just the beginning of my healing. I mean, I added Reiki and acupuncture and diet and, herbal remedies, things like that. So I took a lot of things to heal my physical body, but I can't even tell you how much peace of mind it gave me to know where my symptoms, the root was, and to know that I had addressed that. So that once I cleared up the physical part of my body and strengthened, those systems through acupuncture and all of that, I knew that it wouldn't come back, and that for me, it would not be a chronic condition, because I had read so many stories, like horror stories online, of women who just suffer for years and years and years. And this experience of just tuning into the wisdom of my second chakra, and it was really listening to my second chakra that gave me the clue as to what emotional process I needed to heal. And then again, knowing my second chakra was there, I knew what Kundalini yoga practices to do, like how I could physically manipulate my body in order to strengthen that area of my body. And it was such an empowering experience to, even when I still had symptoms, to know what to do. It was amazing. So that is just one example, maybe an extreme example, and maybe not an extreme example. If you're suffering from a chronic illness, this might not seem that extreme to you. But if you're generally healthy, happy, going about your day, this is just an illustration of how powerful it is to have a way to know how your chakras feel in your body, and to know how you can access any of your chakras to tell how it's doing. That's kind of the key part that we want people to get out of our course is, having the general information of what each chakra's emotion is associated with is fine. But the real work is to do exercises, move your body, really get to know how each chakra shows up for you, and to have an ongoing intimate relationship with your chakras, so that when something does go wrong, like you get sick or you lose a job or a relationship ends, you know how to access these sources of information and healing for yourself. So I was able to gain my intimate connection with my chakras during Kundalini yoga teacher training. But because these teachings or these lessons about the chakras and the power of Kundalini yoga to work with them so quickly and so efficiently, if you think about it, I had stuck chakras for 21, 22 years, something like that, maybe more. And over the course of a month or two of doing Kundalini yoga regularly, I was able to get them kind of up and running again. That's an incredible shift. If you look at a timeline of my life, 19 years in a month or two to get that chakra up and spinning again. So Kundalini yoga is an incredibly powerful and easy way to get your chakras in line. But these teachings of the chakras and Kundalini yoga are essential to living a healthy human life. Like you should be, they say, the life doesn't come with an instruction manual, but this is the instruction manual of how to work with your energetic body. So what we did is we created a course to guide you through a process of getting to know each and every one of your chakras and the Kundalini yoga practices that balance those chakras without having to spend the thousands of dollars or the hundreds of hours that we spent in teacher training. And so after this course, you will know how the chakras show up in your life and which ones tend to be blocked for you, and the Kundalini yoga practices that can get them spinning again. You'll start to feel shifts immediately when you're doing the Kundalini yoga practices. And then you can begin to build a loving relationship with each of your chakras. And with consistent practice, then you can start to deprogram some of the habitual patterns that your chakras have developed. The course itself is 7 weeks long. And so each week we focus on one chakra, and you get an in-depth audio recording that goes into a lot of detail and examples of how the chakras show up in people's lives. You get a workbook for each chakra so that you can keep notes and kind of assess for yourself how that chakra shows up in your life. Like, in what ways is it working for you, and in what ways is it working against you? Each week, we will also do a live Kundalini yoga class or live online Kundalini yoga class together that targets the chakra of the week. And if you can't make it live, you'll get a recording so you can practice on your own. And there's a Facebook group so that you can connect with other students and have more direct access to Ramtin and I. There's something really powerful about doing this work in a group. So if we're all thinking about focusing on our first chakra at the same time, and we're all posting our insights and how they show up for us, you can go on there and read about what insights other people are having, because they might apply to you. So to do this as a group really deepens your experience of the material. So every week you get the audio recording, online class, workbook, and access to the Facebook group, all focused on the chakra of the week. And then we have additional awesome bonuses. So when you sign up, you immediately get a guided visualization of all of the chakras. And then during the course, we are releasing a special expert interview about how to use crystals to balance your chakras. And then the most fun bonus is to wrap up the entire 7-week course. We're all going to get together online and have a meditation celebration together. And so we'll do the meditation from the course as a group and really solidify our practice, solidify our journey. And we'll be able to share at that time all of our insights and breakthroughs and goals for future learning. And so this course is called Master Your Chakras with Kundalini Yoga. And to learn more and to sign up, you can head over to heartcenteredrevolution.com/chakra course. This first round of the course starts October 7th. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get to know all of you in the course and to share these teachings. And if you're hearing this after October 7th, you can still go to heartcenteredrevolution.com/chakra course, and you can sign up for the waitlist for the next time we offer this course. And before we get into our pranayam for today, I just want to say thank you for listening to my story about my bladder. It's truly the first real medical issue that I've had to deal with, and brought up a lot of feelings, and it was a difficult process to go through, but was also so beautiful and healing in so many ways. But thank you so much for listening to my story, and you guys have always been such a great support system for us, and I truly hope that you join us in this chakra course. If you are a human being, then this is information that you just need to know. This stuff really allows you the ability and the empowerment to take control of your life and to steer it in the direction that is in alignment with your purpose and with your highest self. So if you are ready for the next step, that deeper layer of getting to know yourself as a spiritual being, having a human experience, visit heartcenteredrevolution.com/chakra course. And join us on this journey. It's going to be amazing. Great. Today's practice is another version of what we did last week, which is called breath and prayer, or praying to your breath. So if you weren't here in the last episode, it's this really awesome concept of you have this breath of life. It's part of your connection to all of creation and to your creator. And you can actually talk to your breath while you hold it in. And it creates a very healing vibration and can help you access some of that energy of the infinite or of the divine. And if you're not religious, I'm actually going to read a quote that includes the word God. In Kundalini Yoga, when we say God, we think of, it's more like infinite spirit, but you can replace that with whatever word or idea is more comfortable for you. You can even go with like love or compassion, just something that connects and unites us all, that energy, that aspect of life that connects us all, and that has a certain amount of intelligence to it. So before we get into the practice, I wanted to share another quote from Yogi Bhajan about these types of practices. And he says, feel the breath in your consciousness, feel it in your body. Feel it in the mind, and the soul will awaken. If you are poor, inhale, hold the breath, and tell the breath to bring you prosperity. If you are unhappy, inhale, hold the breath, and tell it to bring you happiness. Whenever you need your prayer to be answered, breathe like this and ask the breath of life to communicate with the creator of the breath of life to give you everything. You will be shocked how well you can communicate with God just through the breath of life. What can give you life can give you everything. The link between you and God is through the breath of life. So that's Yogi Bhajan's quote and his way of understanding it. And like I said, even if you don't believe in God, or if that word doesn't resonate with you, which it doesn't for a lot of people, if you think about it, like this breath is a gift. Every breath is a gift. So whether you consider that a gift from the infinite, just from sheer luck, you can even say you're connecting with gratitude through these practices and through this prayer. And so with that in mind, let's transition into our practice. So come sitting as we do, bring your sit bones into contact with whatever surface you're sitting on. You can bring your feet steady onto the floor, feeling very grounded. Spine is up tall, crown of the head reaching for the heavens. Shoulders are up, back, and down. Heart is nice and open. Face is relaxed. Eyes are closed. And we begin with a few long, deep breaths. So inhaling deeply, filling up that belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, and belly. Again, inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, and belly. Last one like this. Inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, and belly. Take your next inhale deeply. Suspend the breath gently, relaxing the shoulders, and recite to yourself, "May I walk in the company of my own holiness and fall in love with my own soul and be bewitched with the breath of life so I can enjoy my fulfillment forever." Sat Nam. Exhale, let all the breath go. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. Bless yourself with these words. "May I walk in the company of my own holiness and fall in love with my own soul and be bewitched with the breath of life so I can enjoy my fulfillment forever." Sat Nam. Let the breath go. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath gently and bless yourself. "May I walk in the company of my own holiness and fall in love with my own soul and be bewitched with the breath of life so I can enjoy my fulfillment forever." Sat Nam. Exhale, letting all the breath go. And then let your breathing return to relaxed. No need to manipulate it at all. Just sitting in stillness. Again, seeing if you can sense a connection to your pranic body, to the breath life force that is within you, that energizes you, gives you life, and can answer your prayers. ready, you can blink your eyes open and give yourself a little shake if you need to wake up. All right, that is it for the 26th episode of the Heart-Centered Revolution podcast. For those of you who feel called to explore your chakras more deeply by joining us in the Master Your Chakras course, I cannot wait to get to know you and go through this journey with you. You know, these explorations are like layers, so Ramtin and I are going to continue to learn right along with you. If you want a reminder, the website for that course is heartcenteredrevolution.com/chakra course. And we love you, and may the longtime sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.